Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
And welcome to another edition of the JP Peterson Show here, as we got a huge show for you today. Lots to get into. I see all my Bull stuff I got on today. Peter Blake joining us here this morning. I got the shirt on, the coach's overlay, the whole thing on. Huge win last night for the Bulls in basketball. They're back. They're back. I'm not sure if they were here, but they're back. And they got a great shot to get into the NCAA tournament now with a big comeback win last night. So we'll be talking about that with David Zimroth, former USF assistant basketball coach, basketball guru. So we'll chat with him at 10:30, 11:30. Scott Jeeves from the Jeeves Law Group is going to join us. We're going to break down this FSU lawsuit and see if they have a chance to get out of their grant of rights, which would get them on to the Big Ten, in my opinion. So lots to dissect there. Some very interesting things, and he will kind of put it in layman's terms for us. I gave him a little homework assignment to do that for us. And, of course, we got the Bucks introducing Liam Coen, and he absolutely crushed the press conference. So I'll say good morning to you, Peter Blake of the Sports Web. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm good. I love when we have great topics to get into. We got great content. Have a lot of new folks jumping in today. We love our USF family, so away we go. And, of course, we are live on the Strike 102.5 HD2, which is where you can find all the USF basketball broadcasts with Jim Lighthall, who we had on yesterday. I'm sure he and Joey Johnston were going nuts last night in this comeback win. So lots of fun. And before we get to Liam, just because then we're going to get to Coach Z on USF. Great atmosphere last night. More than 6,000 fans at the Yuengling Center. They go down 17 in the first half, and you're just like, oh, my God, you had a great opportunity here. You're on ESPN2. You don't want to a lot of people sampling your team right now. And what Jim Lighthall told us yesterday about Amir Abdul-Rahim, their coach, about how calm and cool and collected he is. So they're down 17. They keep showing the sideline. The dude's like, we're good. Like,
right.
Yeah. He's smiling. And the guys in the huddle, he's like, yeah, guys, we're good. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, there's no panic in this dude whatsoever. And his team just methodically came back, played great defense, got a lot of stops, adjusted to what Charlotte was doing. Charlotte's just a huge, huge basketball team. They have 5 guys over 6'10", and they were just pounded inside to the paint. And Bulls just got a little bit more aggressive and played really, really well in the second half. Obviously, didn't take the lead until 29 seconds left in the game, and then held off a furious couple of three-pointers and got a big win. So now they're 8 consecutive conference wins, tops of the AAC at 9-1, and a great inside shot to obviously they can get an automatic bid if they win the tournament, but you keep winning games like this, and if you don't win the tournament and you get to 23, 24 wins, you got a great shot to get into the dance. So basketball is back at USF, and it was fun to see a great environment last night. All right, Peter, into your wheelhouse now. Liam Coen, introduced as the offensive coordinator yesterday. I thought he just crushed the press conference. Canales asked with a little bit more of I don't know. I don't want to in any way disparage Dave Canales, but so I won't say more. It was just a really great feeling of this guy knows what he's doing. He's got great pedigree. I love his family story with his dad, which we're going to get into. It was a really feel-good situation. And then the Bucks released a little video of him seeing Baker for the first time. I know you saw that. And it's like, man, these guys are boys. These guys are boys. They are just like, it's not just a friendship. You can just tell that they're boys. And Baker not only signed off on this, but looked like this is the guy he wanted. And, after watching that interaction and listening to Baker and how, he says we and this, that, and the other, he ain't going anywhere.
No.
He's not going anywhere.
Nobody's
he would be such a douche to get this guy to come here and do all the things he's done and made all the relationships. Now, if the Bucks, completely lowball him and which I don't think they're going to do, then that's the only way he gets out of here. Or somebody throws some ridiculous, even with some ridiculous 45-50 million dollar a year contract at him. Maybe if the Falcons or the Steelers do that, he goes. But I after watching that interaction and see how these guys are married together, I think Baker's not going anywhere, right?
I don't think he's going anywhere, JP. And I tell you right now, I definitely think they consulted him in this process, and maybe they have a handshake agreement, but it was definitely an important factor to get somebody that had some experience with Baker Mayfield. And you're exactly right. And what we heard throughout the process is not only did they work well together, but they have the same type of personalities. And you can see with the greeting, him hugging his wife and everything like that. And he was impressive in this press conference. And what I took away from it, it's not about plays, it's about players. It's about hitting the ball to Mike Evans. It's about using Chris Godwin in that slot in the inside instead of, trying to. And I feel like that's where good coaching is, right? I go back to Bill Walsh. How did Bill Walsh become a legend? Well, he made a West Coast offense. Why? Because his quarterback couldn't throw the ball deep, but he could throw it short. Jerry Rice wasn't the fastest. So what do? You go with the slant. This coach in the same manner with Chris Godwin. So I'm excited about the prospect of it. And I put out the prediction yesterday, and I know I put out a lot of predictions, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But I'll put it out there. I will put it out there, JP, that I feel like in 2024, no one is leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not Mike Evans, not Baker Mayfield, not Antoine Winfield Jr., not Levante David. And by the way, for you smart people out there, Tristan Wirfs is not a free agent, but I believe they will get him an extension to free up that cap to re-sign their own players.
Well, I'm going to jump on board with that prediction. I believe you're spot on. I think that's you could see all the fandom in Houston, just going crazy when Mike Evans shows up at a basketball game. You could talk about, they could talk, other places can talk about coming to get Baker Mayfield. The fact of the matter is the ball is in the court of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And if they want to make this happen, they can make this happen. They may have to extend a little bit and stretch a little bit, but I see this as another window. And look, you can make the case, listen, Mike Evans is aging. Baker Mayfield has a ceiling. You guys are signing up for mediocrity. Look, I get that. I understand that, it's a young man's game. You need a more dynamic guy at quarterback, blah, 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 blah. That's great. If you can assure me that I'll get, Justin Jefferson and Brock Purdy with these picks that I'm going to get, then I'm all in.
Right.
But unfortunately, we have a very difficult time finding exactly who is going to be a successful quarterback coming from college and going into the NFL. The Bucs have, every team struggles with that. It's a hard needle to thread. So you have options. What are my known options? Well, I've got a known option of a guy who just finished in the top 8, I believe it was top 8 or 7 in quarterback rating in this offense. In a first-year offense, by the way. First year with a first-year play caller.
Right.
Finished, top 8 quarterback rating. Over 30 touchdown passes with when you include the playoffs. A huge playoff win. That's what I know I have in Baker Mayfield. A great leader that the guys love. This is what I know. I know what he can do in the NFL. I just saw it. Okay? I know that he is beloved by his teammates. I know that he's a great leader. I know he has a ceiling. I'm okay with it. I know what Mike Evans is. I think I know what he'll be for the next at least 2 years, maybe 3. We can push it to 4 because that's the way he takes care of his body. I know what we have in Chris Godwin. I think he's going to be better this next year. I know what we have in Cade Otton. I know what we have in Tristan Wirfs. I know what we have in Rachaad White. I know we can add things to this mix. So I know with just going forward with this plan that I should have a top 15 offense. I said last year that this offense with Canales and Baker Mayfield would be better than the Brady offense. We were correct. We said they'd win 9 games and win the NFC South. We were correct. Okay. So you can trace the unknown and you can say Baker Mayfield can't win a Super Bowl. But I'm here to say, I know what these guys are. I've seen it. I have great tape on it. So I'm going to go with what's known as opposed to the unknown. And I'll take my chances. If these guys can't get it done, so be it. I know this. I'm going to be in the hunt. I'm going to be in the hunt with this group of players moving forward for the next 3 or 4 years and adding to it. I know I'm going to be in the hunt. Now, will there be a change at coaching staff? We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. If they next year win the South or don't win the South, but the offense is better, there's a lot of things that can happen. So I'm just looking at building. Todd Bowles is your coach. Great. Let's move forward. All right. Liam Coen is your OC. Great. Can't wait to see what he can do. Baker Mayfield's your quarterback. Mike Evans is coming. Fine. Let's go. This is the core. We have a core. We have an identity to this football team. A lot of teams can't say that. Hell, the Bucs couldn't say that for the first 8 games last year, to be quite honest.
Right.
So you've established something. You go with it. You go with it.
You go with it, and I think I like about the press conference is not only does he come off as impressive as we talked about, charismatic, if you will, but he's got also a plan where he's talking about balance to the run, and not only balance to the run, but being explosive and talking about White and how to use him and saying, it is so difficult for a running back to not only put his foot in the ground, but also being used in the passing game. And you saw the tree of Sean McVay. And if it's any kind of offense like Sean McVay, I tell you right now, that offense is going to be improved from last year, and you have to be excited about it. And you look at it, where are the needs for this Bucs team, right? So you get Evans signed like we talked about. You get Mayfield signed. You get Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr. Okay, what do you need? Another safety. What else do you need? Interior line. Okay, so could you go, and I guess we lost JP there to Wi-Fi issues, so we're back here. What do you need? Could you move Robert Hansey to the left guard situation and go out and draft a center in the second round? Could you go out in free agency and get a left guard or improve the center position? So you still have some needs on this team, depending on what you do at linebacker. But going back to strictly just the offense at this juncture, and I know there's a lot of Bucs fans out there that want to talk about the hiring of Liam Coen, and open phone lines if you want to get on them. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You have to feel good about this offense going forward. And what I mean by that is, do you have some needs on that interior line that you can improve on? Absolutely, you can. You can improve the running game. You can improve the offensive line, but you got to take care of business first. But going back to the interview, and I want to open this up to Bucs fans. What did you think about the hire? Do you like that hire? I tell you what, let's go out to Liam Coen here, being introduced by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here on the JP Peterson Show. Enjoy. And I think we lost that interview here, so stand by. I tell you what we're going to go ahead and do. We'll go ahead and take a break. We'll try to get JP Peterson back on. But again, open phone lines. Tell me what you think about the hiring of Liam Coen for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Of course, Super Bowl 58 week. Who do you like in that matchup? Do you like the halftime show? I mean, so many things to talk about here on today's Happy Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. So I tell you what, let's go to break. And when we come back, we'll try to get JP on. We'll try to answer these questions, and we'll play that press conference on the JP Peterson Show. Keep it locked.
JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank, and I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation, and that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get-acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Took a little power hit there. Sorry, folks. This happened last week when I was on with you, Peter.
It
right?
did. It's crazy. It's crazy how that happens. I don't know what's going on.
About the same time, too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
Right after I just as I got done with my monologue there. So that was good. Anyway. All right, so wanted to first of all say thanks to the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves going to join us in the 11:30 hour. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Get your free case evaluation. Whatever issues you may have, give them a call. Just go to the website, contact them through the website, tell them JP sent you, and tell them what's up, and they'll tell you if you have a case or you should come in. Local firm, big enough to handle those big insurance companies, small enough to make you important. So do that, Jeeves Law Group.
Wind me up, by the way. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391.
Well, I don't necessarily want to take calls just yet.
Well, not yet, but after the presser, because I threw some questions out there. What do you think of the hiring? Bucks fans, of course. Are you excited about this offseason? What kind of improvements? You know, for me, a lot of people are looking at drafting a quarterback at 26. If you re-sign a Baker Mayfield, I get it. Michael Penix Jr. may be on the board. I don't necessarily think so. I think you got to go interior line to improve this offense. For me, maybe moving Hansey to the left guard situation.
Yep.
Maybe drafting a center. You could do that in the second round. Do you go edge rusher? Do you go corner? But when it comes back to this offense, I mean, I think there's a couple pieces missing, and then you start to feel good about it. And then again, the experience factor with Coen being able to work with Baker Mayfield and, you know, being familiar with each other, you just feel like this offense could get even more better. And then on top of it, using Chris Godwin in his natural position, because you saw when Dave Canales decided to stop being stubborn and trying to make the offense, dictate the offense to Chris Godwin, use Chris Godwin in that slot position instead of the outside, how productive Godwin was when that happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't, I'm not one of these folks that thinks Canales was the second coming.
Right.
I thought he was good, but I think he's going to be over his skis. I think we have a troll in Ralph Williams here who is putting some comments here for.
Yeah, I know Ralph. Yeah, he says,
"Is he a troll or just?"
No, I don't think he's a troll. I just think that's how he feels. I mean, Eric Bieniemy. How come?
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, how come he hasn't been hired by why is it so difficult for this man to get a coaching job, head coaching job, with what he's done with Kansas City? Now being out with the Washington Commanders with Cliff Kingsbury. Why is it so difficult, in your opinion, JP?
He doesn't interview well.
Okay.
He doesn't interview well. Most of his success is hidden behind Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So I think it's hard to give him credit for what happened in Kansas City just because of those two omnipresent folks. I'm not saying he's not a talented guy, not saying that, he may get a shot at this point. I just, there's a reason. I'm not in these interviews. I just hear he doesn't interview well. I've just heard that, the reason that Kansas City did the things they did is obviously Patrick Mahomes is pretty good and Andy Reid's a dominant play caller. So, I think there's a reason why he didn't do much in Washington, and that wasn't a great situation with Sam Howell and that organization. So that was a little tough. I don't want to throw too much on him. But clearly that didn't work out well, and now he's out again.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it'd be a good fit here, and I don't think he says Canales is taking Baker to Carolina. He just drafted Bryce Young, number 1 overall, and gave him a king's ransom. He's not. No, that's not happening. All right,
yeah.
Let's play a little bit of the Liam Coen press conference. Want to just get a little bit so you folks can get a flavor if you missed it. So here's Liam Coen yesterday. Todd Bowles with the introduction.
Good afternoon, guys. Obviously, we're here to introduce Liam and Ashley Coen, Ford Coen for Ashley. We had a long search.
Oh, she's a Ford.
Again, we went through a lot of quality candidates, a lot of them. There was a bunch of good coaches out there. Liam best fits what we want to do offensively. There'll be some similarities, but there'll be some differences as well. Very bright mind, very bright young mind, understands football inside and out. Really happy to have him. Without further ado, he can tell you a lot more. Liam Coen.
There you go.
Nice MC work there.
Right.
Todd Bowles, well done.
Todd Bowles, let's some
Very
emotion.
nice.
Guys, really appreciate you guys coming out today. First of all, I'd like to thank the Glazer family for giving me this opportunity. Coach Bowles, Jason Light, Mike Greenberg, and John Spytek for the opportunity here to come to Tampa Bay to be the offensive coordinator. I'd also like to thank Mark Stoops at the University of Kentucky, giving me an opportunity to go call plays in the SEC and really kind of get my feet wet and doing it for the first time. And I'd also like to thank Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams organization for essentially giving me my PhD in coaching and learning under those guys. And what a first-class organization! But couldn't be happier to be here and really open up to any questions.
Liam, one of your mantras as an offensive play caller is players over plays.
Yeah.
Can you just speak to that?
Players over plays is one of his mantras. Scott Reynolds asking the question.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, I was taught in times of crisis, you think players, not plays. And
Like
it's
that.
not about what maybe I like or the play that I might like the most, but what's going to get the ball into our best players' hands. What can our guys execute at a high level and be able to go do and have confidence in. And also, on the back of my call sheet, I have a player box for multiple players that ultimately want to get the ball in their hands right now. No questions asked. The cover's not going to change. It's not going to matter what happens. That the ball's going in their hands right now, and because this game's it's a personnel game, right? And at the end of the day, it's about those guys.
What did you like about the situation?
This was a no-brainer for me. I mean, obviously, the opportunity to work with Baker, to get back with him potentially. John Wolford's in the room that I coached with the Rams for multiple years. The skill set on the perimeter, obviously. Youth in the running back room,
Amazing,
tight
right?
end, and one of the best tackles in the National Football League. So this was all together really something that we could not turn away from whatsoever. This is something that we were really excited about as a family. My father lives an hour and a half from Tampa. I've spent a lot of time down here, and this was just a no-brainer for us.
Where does your father live?
He lives in Rotunda West, which is a small community kind of just right in between Port Charlotte and Englewood. So he's right down there, but he will be moving to Tampa, I can imagine, pretty soon.
How much is you're working with Baker? I know it was for a short time, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think?
Question working with Baker.
That the Bucks value.
Mm-hmm.
How did that value in the selection process?
Man, Baker, as you guys know, is an igniter. And that's the type of guy that you want to be around. He came into our organization at a really difficult time. a time that we weren't having a lot of fun. And he came in and made football fun for a lot of people at that time. He came in and made football competitive again at practice. And he's jawing at Jalen Ramsey, and they're going at it. And that was something that we hadn't felt in a little while, right? It was a tough year. And the opportunity to be around him potentially every day, to coach a guy that's as competitive as he is, that has that moxie, I mean, that's fun. I mean, you can't coach that. And when a guy has that ability and the ability to communicate with others, that's something that I really wanted to be around and was very intriguing for us.
What did you learn in your time as a play caller in the SEC?
What did you learn as a play caller in the SEC?
The NFL and college game very different in a lot of ways. The defensive structures actually in the college football game are a little messier than they are in the NFL game at times. Obviously the blitz pickup packages in the SEC versus the NFL, maybe it'll be a little bit different, but the defensive structures, they're a little messier in college football. But at the end of the day, as we kind of talked about before, was get the ball to your best player as many times as possible and see what happens. And try to be as efficient as you can on early downs.
Like that.
Win third down in the red zone. But we had a kid 2 years ago, Wan'Dale Robinson, that had 104 for 1,300. And, ultimately just try to get him the ball as many times as possible. And I could sleep better at night that way.
Mike Evans.
Coach Stoops and Coach McVay. I'm just curious what
Works
you
well.
kind of learned from them, from their coaching style that you want to apply to your own coaching style.
Sean made coaching. He gave me a different outlook on coaching. I'd been doing it for a little while there, and I'm sitting there one afternoon as a assistant receivers coach, and I just got there, and he comes in at 6 o'clock during OTAs and says, "Hey man, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm really glad you're here." And to get the pat on the back that you just don't typically ask for or think is necessary in this profession, but to actually have somebody do it. You saw a little bit of a different lens of how football can be and coaching in general can be. And then and he's the best communicator I've ever been around, hands down. And Coach Stoops, the ability to step away but also have an organization that he trusts, that he worked for really hard to get, and to be able to step away with understanding and trusting his coaches. That was something that I really learned from Coach Stoops was, man, hey, play the next play. Don't worry about it, man. It's all going to be okay. Just go. He trusted, he believed, and I couldn't thank him enough for that.
Liam, what's your process like right now when it's obviously the offseason? You come in here, I know a couple of times you used the word potentially with Baker because that's not settled. So it's not a definite, I mean, is it like just what are you working on right now when things aren't completely firmed up in that area?
Yeah, trying to get to know some of the players. I've talked to a few of them already. Just trying to get a little bit of a relationship builder with those guys. Get here with Todd and with Jason and with the staff and personnel department to really evaluate the roster and start to get through to that. Obviously, we need to build the staff and get some of those hires done here over the course of the next couple of weeks here, and really just dive into this thing. Is why I've been watching a ton of film. On the flights. I was watching tape recruiting flights last week, and just trying to dive into this thing, but all get on the same page and be as collaborative as we can be in terms of the roster and the coaching staff hires, and just get down to Tampa as soon as we can.
Conceptually, there were some similarities with what they did.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
One more here on the similarities of the system to what Dave Canales had here.
I think it'll be actually very similar in terms of some of the terminology. The run game, I think, will be very similar in some ways. Formations, maybe some Daffy might be Dixie or double might be deuce. I mean, some of those things may be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, those guys have that was just this. They can put those things together. The protections, I got to believe, will be very similar in some ways. Dave was was with Shane Waldron in Seattle, and so there's a lot of similarities there. I don't expect an overly difficult learning curve, but obviously we want to be able to put our stamp on things and be able to do things our way as well.
All right, that's Liam Coen, and let's see if I can remove him here.
There you go. I removed it.
All right, so we got more of that. We'll give you in the second hour as we get to it. But just a couple of things from that. I love players over plays. And as Scott Reynolds told us yesterday, he's got to play, a little tally sheet on his play sheet to see how many times, he's gotten his playmakers the ball, just to remind him that you got to get guys involved, because sometimes you get caught up in the X's and O's and what the other team's doing in their strategy, that you kind of lose focus on what your strategy is and where you need to be getting the ball. And I've said this, so it's so frustrating when you see a big critical down, and it's one of those things like basketball. There's guys that are always like, yeah, I'm open for three. I got to take that shot, and the coach says, yeah, there's a reason you're open for three. They want you to take that shot. There's a reason, guy Kate Otten is getting single coverage, and they want you to think that's where to throw the ball on 3rd and 7. There's a reason for these things. And sometimes you have to trust your players and say, okay, they might be doubling Mike Evans in this situation, but he's still going to be open. If we execute this play, he's still going to be open. And so many coaches just shy away. And when the defense, quote, takes something away, that they just don't go back to it. I think it's a terrible mistake. You're almost taking your own guy out of the play, out of the game. So don't do that. So I love that philosophy, and I love the way he talks. And he'll talk more about this later in the second half. His relationship with his dad is really, really kind of cool. His dad quit coaching a college program that he had started to coach him in high school, and they won 2 state championships. And Liam went on to quarterback at UMass and set a lot of records there. So he's played the game at the collegiate level. I like that as well. He understands what's going through a quarterback's mind, which is very, very important. So, all in all, he came over, I thought, is very authentic, maybe not as, optimistic and energetic as maybe Canales did, but I'm okay with that. This guy has a great relationship with Baker Mayfield. That's evident. He knows what he's doing. He's ambitious. I like that. He wants to call plays. He wants to be in control of the play sheet. There's a lot to like, and he comes from a great pedigree of Sean McVay, and so it's a similar system. I honestly don't know how you could have found somebody better. I don't, unless it was Sean McVay himself or Shane Waldron. I don't know. So it was a fantastic press conference, and I love, and it's a great hire in my opinion.
Well, and the key thing is that you're not going to have that major transition. So we've always talked about it with Baker Mayfield. What has hindered his career, JP? Well, it's the fact of, different offensive systems. He's been familiar with this system. It's not going to be a tough transition.
Exactly.
And then furthermore, this offense may not necessarily have all those bumps in the road because this guy has called plays before. So it'll be interesting to see, but you're exactly right. Talking about his dad, a little bit further, his dad was in the meeting rooms in Kentucky, and he even said, I need to limit him from that maybe a little bit. It's great, but what do we know about a son of a coach? A son of a coach, somebody who's been in there, that he's going to be disciplined. Yeah. He's already talked about breaking down film. He's already talked about meeting the players. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. And again, you just feel optimistic that this is going to work out a lot better. And there's going to be is it going to be a better transition, if you will, when it comes to Baker and this offense going forward in 2024?
Yeah. One quick comment here from my friend Stuart Levine. Why would you tell the NFL world the game tape you saw last year will be the same game we will play this year? Why not say our system will be completely different? Because A, they won't believe you. You're not going to completely change your system. That would be stupid.
Right.
Because this is what you've known and taught all your life. And they still don't know what play's coming. So everybody knows what system you run, but they still hopefully don't know unless, they're cheating, Patriots.
It's not going to be a Bill Callahan
Michigan
situation like Super Bowl 37 where you don't change up your calls and John Gruden and the defense know everything that's going to happen. It's not going to be that type of situation. They're going to be ready for that.
So you run your system. They still have to know what play you're running. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, David Zimroth's going to join us, former USF assistant coach on USF's big win last night over Charlotte. Comeback from 17 down. How did they do it? What does this mean? We'll chat with Coach Z coming up next. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your immune system right, get your testosterone right, and get on that True Body machine that they have. It is revolutionary, folks, and it's really, really helping people lose that stubborn fat that you just can't get rid of it, whether it's that side belly fat, the mid belly fat, whatever it is. Ladies and gentlemen, get on the True Body machine at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. One of the few places you can find it, BAMMC.com. Back in 3 with Coach Z.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Start the new year with a new diamond from the Gold and Diamond Source. It's still engagement season. Where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? Of course, I just got mine there. I'm engaged. You should do the same thing. Let's go. Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country. A literal jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And if you have a loved one or a special person in your life who has a birthday this month, maybe you have an anniversary coming up, you can get 15% off the January birthstone, which is garnet, as in garnet and gold for all your Seminoles. Celebrate that mythical national championship. And it's the Gold and Diamond Source's 40th anniversary. For the past 40 years, they have taken pride in offering only natural diamonds formed over billions of years from the Earth's incredible forces. And gold prices are at an all-time high. Now's your chance to turn your jewelry box into a cash machine. It's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Back to the JP Peterson Show. We will get back to the Bucs here in a little bit. And yes, they did hire Kevin Carberry as their offensive line coach, who was with the Saints and also was the Rams O-line coach when they won the Super Bowl and worked with Coen there. So we'll get back to that in just a little bit. But now we're going to talk some hoops. This is why I got my whole USF get up on this morning, because of the big win last night. Coach Z, David Zimroth, former USF, former FSU, and Georgia assistant, joining us here. What's up, Z? How are you?
Tired, man. Tired from last night. Haven't stayed up that late in a long time.
Bunch of old men had to stay up for a 9 o'clock tip.
Oh, Lord.
I stayed up too. I wasn't out of there until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. You know,
go to the game, Peter?
I did. I covered the game. I had great.
Nice.
Yeah, we have some great content if I can get it up here, get my laptop working. But yeah, interviewed the coach, interviewed the players, and
nice.
This was an exciting win. And you know, I was talking to Coach Z off air. I feel like this is kind of what USF is, right? I mean, and even the coach talked about it in the presser. They're gritty. And I said, gritty, not pretty. And I got to steal that from Christopher Cole, one of our fans out there. I mean, that's just what they are. They get down 15. They never give up. This started this year, Coach Z, with them being down on the road 20 and come back versus a top 10 Memphis team. And that's not a slouch. This team now 16-5, 9-1. You know, how surprised are you? Once again, they get down early to Charlotte in double digits, and they just keep on fighting, clawing back.
Well, I mean, it's all relative. If you ask me after the main game when they lost, would this be possible? I would not think it would be possible.
No.
But watching them against Florida State, and in my opinion, again, I'm not in the staff meetings. I'm not breaking down tape with those guys.
Sure.
But that game, the way they played, the things they implemented defensively, offensive, that game was the foundation of where the program is right now, and they have not looked back. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you give me a minute, I'm gonna tell you why last night was a big game, and
Okay.
I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about it, but there's a few reasons why last night was a really big game. First reason is it was the sole possession of first place. And if you go back into the archives, if you followed the program as long as I've been following it since the days of Doug Applin in the mid 70s, this program has never been in this position, regardless of the conference they were in, at this stage of the year in its existence. In 50 plus years, they were never in this position. Wow. So last night was a big game for those reasons. Okay. If you look at it very simply, every person who's ever suited up for this program, every coach who's ever taken the job and sold a dream, every manager, every person who's done radio, every person who's done TV, beat writers, season ticket holders, boosters, athletic, anyone who's been associated with this program in any regard for 50 plus years, that's why last night's game was big. Because those people all saw everything they talked about, dreamt about, become a reality. Those are the reasons last night was special. And if you look at former players or former coaches, whoever it is, people that have had season tickets at that place, you know, when they were playing over in the rec center, I mean, the phys ed place, I mean, it's ridiculous what last night was. And I haven't heard a whole lot about that. But for a person who's been a fan of South Florida since then, I mean, that's what that game meant for me in terms of looking at why it was such a big game. But now the next scenario comes into play. And I know coaches don't look ahead. I get it. But at the end of the day, I'm not a coach anymore. I'm somewhat of a person that gets asked their opinion. And you got to, because here's what's going to happen. You can't lose to Rice on the road. Cannot lose that game. Okay? Come home, take care of business against Tulsa. All right? Don't want FAU to lose tomorrow night at UAB. They may want to. As a fan, I don't want that to happen. FAU wins tomorrow night at UAB, which will be tough. They come home and have a home game against someone they've already beat. And now Sunday, February 18th, here's what takes place on national TV. USF's 11-1, 18-5. FAU's 11-1, 21-4. FAU could possibly be ranked in top 15 that week. And now, and I'm saying it, the biggest sporting event in the history of this takes place. I'm not saying it hasn't had big football inaugural game. I get it all. I get it. But this game, now you're talking, 2 weeks before, the bids come out, and you're looking at playing a ranked team in your home gym, and you're both 11-1?
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It's a big deal.
Bigger than that.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Boy, Z, you really, that was a broadcaster's dream right there, buddy. You put it, and I love when I say this, I'm going to try to do this from 40,000 feet for you. Look at the macro. This is what this meant. That's what you just did. You put that in perspective like it needed to be put in perspective. So you're fast becoming a very good journalist, my friend, or commentator, analyst. Very well done, because I didn't think of it that way. And you're absolutely right. Now it came to mind that, look, the football team, just had a remarkable season to go from where they were to, crushing Syracuse in a bowl game, crushing a Power 5 team in a bowl game. Now your basketball program within a year is knocking on the door of the top 25, could win a conference championship. And look, what Michael Kelly is selling and has been selling for a long time internally, and doesn't talk about it a whole lot externally, doesn't need to, is we got to get to that P4 situation. We got to get up with the big boys. We have the enrollment. We have the size. We have somewhat of the budget. They need to obviously get better there. But this is all, these are huge, huge steps. And for these other conferences to now say, oh, they can play basketball too. They can fill that arena there as well. And you got a new football stadium coming. You're in the 11th largest media market. This is all huge stuff, Z. And you're what you just painted that picture in terms of the basketball program. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
Look, there's been other people in the position I was in, but I sold University of South Florida for 7 years. I sold a dream. The conference was a different conference then. There was, Final Four traditional programs, and it was a different sell. And I'd be the first one to admit it. We were getting to the threshold, could never step over it.
Right.
We couldn't get over that line. And there have been NCAA tournament teams here in the past. I get it. Okay. But nobody has done what this guy has done in this period of time in their very first year on the job. Nobody. Now people say, they go lose a couple games and it's back to the old. Let me tell you something. It's not back to the old anything. This guy took over a program. Look, there's two reasons you take over a program. One, the guy before you did a heck of a job and got a bigger job. And if that happens, at least before the portal, you inherited a really good team. And the odds were you're going to be pretty good. Or you take over a program where the team had some subpar years, coach got fired, and you're inheriting a bunch of players that just came off some losing seasons, and more than likely, you're not going to be very good. Those are the two things.
Yeah.
Okay? Anyone who says it differently is out of their mind. Those are the two ways you take over a program.
Right.
Okay? You would like to take over a program that's been good.
Right.
And inherit a heck of a team. When we took over Florida State, Pat Kennedy said, this guy left us a hell of a team.
Yeah.
And we were a hell of a team.
Yeah.
Okay? But what this guy inherited, took over, brought two of his own kids in from Kennesaw State, the kid Miguel. I mean, they won last night. No, here's nothing nobody's talking about. At least I might be missing it. The kid who was the spearhead of this run, the kid prior, the big kid, he didn't do anything last night. They had to basically take him out of the game.
Yeah.
And they won without him. Okay. The kid that I absolutely love, look, Knox made huge threes to keep the game in play. The kid Stroud played 32 minutes, other than the free throws, played really well. Walker hitting offensive boards. They held Charlotte without a field goal the last 5 minutes of the game. But the kid Reed, I love that kid.
Yeah.
I love what he brings to the table. I said it last night. The kid makes winning plays. There are kids that play any sport. Last 3, 4, 5 minutes of a game, they understand what it takes to win. Doug Edwards was like that. Sam Cassell. They've been there so many times. They just understand this is how it's got to go. And this kid just keeps answering. Paul Biancardi tweeted last night from ESPN, kid was overlooked, kid this, kid. Yeah, the easiest thing in basketball recruiting is to overlook somebody because they're small. Okay?
Yep.
But if you look at the DNA, if you look at the program, you look at what the guy has done in any sport, you got to make a better decision about recruiting. Obviously, Coach Abdurrahim saw this kid and said, I know what the kid can do. I don't care what anyone else can think. And that's what I love about recruiting.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It only matters what you think.
Yep.
How important was it, Coach Z, to go back to Stroud? Because he missed his 2 key free throws. And then, of course, you go back to him in a key time where he gets that bucket.
A hell of a play.
I mean, and you got to feel like, and you go ahead and speak about this yourself because you've been a coach all around basketball. I mean, how important was it to go back to him? And how much confidence now does his players have in Coach Raheem for doing that?
Well, first of all, look, the kid's not a good foul shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So him missing foul shots, now the way he missed them wasn't great, but At the end of the day, the kid plays a lot of minutes, and the kid played 30 some odd minutes a game last year that went to the NCAA tournament. I mean, he understands what to do in crunch time. That play where he scored, it was this, like, Charlotte didn't think the kid was going to go to the basket. I don't understand what Charlotte did. I don't understand what Charlotte did the last 5 minutes of the game. I don't understand why they sat their best player out for extended minutes in the second half. The kid, Deshaun Jackson, they went to him probably 7 possessions in a row. Either he got fouled or scored, and that's why they had the lead. The kid played 23 minutes. Your best player can't play 23 minutes. He wasn't in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned that.
It's weird.
Like, what were you guys doing? But no, I think that, look, that team has confidence in everyone that's put on the court. They play good 8-9 kids, double-digit minutes, and they have I guess their philosophy is, hey, next guy up. I mean, one guy's not in there, you got to produce, and that's what they're doing. They play good defense. Hey, how about this one? Has anybody talked? They turned the ball over 5 times last night in a 40-minute game.
Wow. And they turned them over, I think, 16 times, didn't they?
I mean, 5 turnovers in a game?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Nobody does that.
That's crazy.
So you're talking about, look, this team's used to winning now, man. And it doesn't matter they're not in a Power 5 conference. It doesn't matter that their games are against non-ranked teams. At the end of the day, they're a tough team to play on the road or at home. Can't say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah, and that's, one of the players said it, and you may have heard it, Peter, when you were interviewing him. He said it really doesn't matter. It's about your talent or any of that. It's who wants it more. And that's the way that team played in the second half. I mean, they turned up the intensity level on the offensive end and the defensive end and just got after it. Z, you were telling us about USF last week, kind of the way that scrappy way that they play, and it's a group and it's a committee thing. What did you see last night from an X's and O standpoint that they did so well to come back from 17 down?
Well, defensively, they really picked it up. Yeah. Okay, I mean, they made every shot a difficult shot, every pass a difficult pass. I mean, they did a very good job. But offensively, he utilized his guards. I mean, he really, said, hey, you know what? We'll beat you off the dribble. We'll make plays at the hole, or we'll pull up mid range, or we'll dump it. I mean, those guys couldn't guard anybody.
Yeah.
Miguel did what he wanted. Youngblood got shots. Knox was open. I mean, Knox wasn't making contested threes. The guy was open.
Yep.
Reed I just think he really knows how to utilize his perimeter guys, and he's got a bunch of them that are all pretty good.
Yeah.
And the kid Miguel is, the kid's
really
had a heck of a career, man. I mean, Youngblood is good. Those kids he brought from Kennesaw State are good players.
They can play.
They're good players. But that's what I took away from the game is like, okay, look, the game. You know what? The game of basketball ain't that damn hard. Okay, if you're playing man-to-man defense. And your sets aren't, I'm going to beat you off the dribble, make a play for myself or someone else. Yeah. It's not difficult, okay? And the offensive player has all the advantage, okay? The defender don't know where they're going. So if your help defense isn't, in place and you're not, rotating correctly and guys are banging open, Knox misses those threes, different game.
Yeah, absolutely. He knocked them down. Big threes.
He knocked them down when they were creeping back in the game.
Yep.
Now, here's another point nobody's talked about. Charlotte had the lead, and they go to the line, and the guy missed the front end of a 1-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think South Florida came down, banged a 3 or banged a 2. That's 4 points right there.
Correct.
Then they go back to the line for a 1-on-1. The kid makes it, and there's a lane violation. So that's another 2 points. That they left 4 points on the stinking floor that are free points.
Yeah.
I mean, and they lost by 3.
Did not execute down the stretch. So huge win for another thing you told me, or maybe we had Jimmy Lighthall on yesterday about the demeanor of the coach. And I was watching, they were down 17. I'm sitting there and they're showing cutaways of Amir Abdul-Rahim, and the dude's like smiling. He's smiling, and he's not even really talking in the huddle. He's just kind of looking at his guys, letting them talk, but he's smiling. I'm like, dude, you're down 17. This is a huge game for you. Like, what is wrong with you? And he had a quiet confidence. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to chat with him. I have not.
I have not.
I guess Peter, you did the interview last night. What were his thoughts after the game?
I mean, he was just, we talked, I asked him, what did you say to your team at halftime? And he didn't expound on it. Just, you said, not too high, not too low. He's that type of coach. Furthermore, I asked him, Coach Z and JP, does this team deserve national recognition? And he goes, I don't care. But yeah, I'm going to ask you. I love that. I love that about him. We don't care. We're going to do what we do. Yeah. Coach C, do they deserve more national recognition? Being 16-5, 9-1 in their conference. I mean, Charlotte, again, no slouch. They're winners of 8 in a row, and they just beat that team who, at the end of the day, bigger, more physical in that first half. But once again, the Bulls find a way in the second half.
Well, I think they're going to get national attention just from the standpoint of that they're in first place, sole possession of first place.
Right.
And people are going to talk about that. In terms of national ranking, those things come when you, beat ranked teams. So they have no control over that. They played one ranked team and beat them. All right. But there are conferences that have 6 or 7 ranked teams. So those guys are playing against each other every night. And so there's not a lot of movement in the top 25. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I believe watching him coach, what I really like is I never liked either playing or dealing with a coach that every possession was yelling something out. Okay? Because I think it takes away from the natural flow a player has to have. It used to drive me nuts. Okay? I played my freshman year for a college coach like that. I coached look, at the end of the day, I just believe you got to let the kids play and stop controlling the game from the sideline. You can't do it. So he does that. He just kind of lets the game be played. He'll sub when he needs to sub. He'll change something defensively. He'll play a couple possessions of zone. He'll knock you off balance. But he's not out there yelling and screaming on every play. I'm sure he probably played like that. If you know his brother, your brother never changed an expression in his life when he played. Those things are important. And what it does is the kids are a little bit more relaxed. In terms of coming back from 17 down, if I'm in that huddle, guys, we've been down 20 on the road against a better team and came back and won. So I think he's got a lot of ammunition he could use to do things with his team that some other coaches can't do. And he's not a screamer. He's not a yeller. The kids win the big game. They're not up and going crazy. And, they just shake the hands of the other team and boom, it's like, hey, we've been here before. I think it's going to bode well for them down the road.
That's cool. Hey, before you go, I want a couple things. We want to get into a little high school talk, which we didn't get to last week, but I watched 2 basketball games last night, 2 college basketball games. I watched BC FSU, and FSU, they hit a little rough patch here recently. It looks like to me, Z, that they're, it's a typical Leonard Hamilton team, really deep, really great offensively, super athletic, but man, their offense is tough to watch. It is tough to watch, and it doesn't seem like they get good shots. I'm like, are anybody going to set a good pick here and free somebody up? It's
2 or 3 things that are extremely evident.
Yeah.
One, they don't play with what I would refer to as a pure point guard. So they don't have a guy that basically orchestrates the possession.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They only have one 3-point shooter, and the kid from Wharton, Darren Green.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have a bunch of 6'4" to 6'9" athletes that they're trying to band together, and they're trying to make, their offense play off their defense. So if their defense is not creating some havoc and turnovers and easy baskets, that's when you see a game like that. Yep. At the end of the day, they're a superior team to Boston College. Yes. I don't care what Boston College says. Yeah. Boston College does not have the level player that Florida State has.
No.
But if you're not going to turn the ball over and, you're going to be in the game against Florida State. Florida State's dropped 2 games that's going to bite them. Okay, the Clemson game at home when I thought they were playing great, and then at Louisville the other night was, I don't even want to use the term I've been using. It's 2 hours of my life I can't get back. I watched.
They can't. It's like they go through these stretches. They can't score. Can they recruit some players that can score? Recruit a point guard, for God's sakes. When's the last true point guard we had? I mean,
he really doesn't play with a true point guard.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We grew up and dealt with basketball in a time where Louisville was UCLA.
Yeah, they were the Kings.
I mean, you watch them now, and it's like, is this the same program?
Yeah,
it's all. I don't know if I've ever seen a program of that stature for that long be in a position like they are right now.
Yeah,
it's hard for me. I don't think DePaul was ever in the position of Louisville, and there's other but Louisville. I mean, it's an unbelievable basketball job. Okay. And to watch them now, it's hard. And then
they went through a really bad athletic director situation, which the dude almost got the FSU job, believe it or not. Just biggest scam ever.
Oh yeah. I heard that.
Remember I told you about that? Yeah. So that program has lost its way, but they finally got a good football coach in Jeff Brom, and I don't know what they're doing with basketball, but I think it'll be back soon. But it's not my worry. But FSU, I thought that maybe they had a chance this year to be to be a little bit better, but offensively, it looks like they're going to struggle. All right, give me a little bit of high school basketball stuff that's going on here locally. What do we got going?
I've been into the college stuff. Haven't been to a high school. I was at 2 high school games recently. I tell you what. There's a couple of really, really good players in this town. Really good players. 6'5" point guard from Berkeley, Matt Abel, can really play. 6-foot point guard from Tampa Catholic, Isaiah Campbell Finch. I love the kid. I think the kid is dynamite. I'd be all over both those kids. I'd be packaging those kids. I'd be doing something. I got to get one of those kids in my program.
At USF.
At USF, those kids can play. All right. You've got 4 or 5 Hall of Fame high school coaches in this town. All right. In Joe Fenlon, Tampa Prep, Don DeZaga with TC, Ronaldo Garcia at Berkeley, Neil Goldman at Jesuit. You've got some unbelievable coaches in this town, programs, Jesuit, Plant, Berkeley Prep, Tampa Prep. The guy at Plant, Joe Willis, dynamite coach, worked with us at Florida, at University of South Florida, can really coach, has really done a great job there. So those are the programs I watch play, because a lot of my clients go and play at those schools. But that program Slam, which I haven't seen them in person this year, but I had a bunch of their kids at our combine. They're really good. They got a kid, Daniel McGregor, going to Stetson. They got a kid named Ramon Seals going to Kennesaw State. Blake's got a couple of kids. Fred Lewis, who used to play at South Florida. Fred Lewis's son's a very good player at Blake.
Nice.
So, you've got some interesting things going on in Tampa, and I urge everybody to go out and watch. And then, girls basketball, always good in this town. Jose Fernandez, as usual, runs a heck of a program, always right there in the national picture. So when people tell you Tampa's not a basketball town, there's a lot of good basketball going on. You just got to be a fan of what's going on.
All right, we will do, and let's get out to a high school game, and I'm definitely going to the FAU game. So we'll catch up for that one as well. The USF FAU game. All right, and tell them where if they want some great coaching. Like I need some of your plays. I had a tough practice, tough games. So we lost 2 games this weekend, Coach. One of them we had no chance. The other one we should have won. I feel bad. I feel like I let my kids down. It's really bad. Couldn't get the ball past half court. Yeah.
Are you one of those dads who wants a shot clock at the YMCA games?
Yes, I am.
Hey, I don't know. In this day and age, if you want really good coaching, you probably should just go over to Fowler Avenue. But if you want really good training, if you want player development, if you want to take kids from A to Z, you come and work out with David Zimroth, DZ Sports.
The best in the business, DZ Sports. And how do they get in touch with you, Z?
Easiest way to get in touch with me is D Zimroth, my last name, at brighthouse.com.
There you go. There you go. All right, Z, we'll chat with you next week. Hopefully we'll have more great USF stuff to talk about. Appreciate it, buddy.
Remember this philosophy, USF, setting the table.
Setting the table. All right.
Love it.
I like
Love
that.
it. Love it.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Looks like Peter's got his interviews from last night. We'll get to some of that for USF. We'll get back to Liam Coen as well and some developments, some breaking news at One Buck Place regarding some of their coaching hires. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It is a great time to save money. Here's the best way. You don't have to work for it. Let them do all the work. You save the money. 813-877-7799. Do your insurance checkup. Just say, hey, this is who I have for auto insurance or home insurance. Even if you've already paid the bill for the year, you can still get a refund and get with a new company. So there's different ways to do it, but have them shop it around for you. That's Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. Tell them JP sent you. 813-877-7799. Back in 3.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to GeddesGordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Synovus Bank, the big bank with a very, very local feel. Head on in there and ask for my good friend John Acosta. He probably won't be there. He might be busy, but there'll be somebody like him. That's the point. There you have tons of folks that have been in local banking here locally for a long, long time. Those are the people that run your local Synovus Bank. So head on in there and tell them JP sent you. Synovus.com. Get the local location. If you're looking for a new personal banker, they've got a great app and all those big bells and whistles of the big banks that make things easy for you. And they also, if you're looking to move your business over there to John Acosta and that group, they will roll out the red carpet for you. Absolutely roll out the red carpet, help you with your business. If you need some investment, they can help you there as well. So Synovus Bank, big bank with a local feel. Go check them out at synovus.com. All right, before we get to some of the post game, Peter, let's get through some of the great comments, our great commenters. We really appreciate you guys commenting each and every day.
Absolutely.
There's a new person I have not seen. Shanisha Bright said you could see the chemistry at the greeting between Baker and Liam Coen. Actually, absolutely right. Worried about M13? Don't worry about M13. He's not going anywhere.
No, and she's one of the biggest Bucks fans out there. I mean, just works with What the Buck tailgate. So she's amazing. So
I think in Nathan Elliott is spot on here. They'll give Mike 5 years, a solid 3 years, and 2 voidable at the end. Yeah, and if he's still going strong, they'll have the option there, the player option to stay or go. I think they'll figure a way to get this done. That's the whole thing. Like, all these guys are smart enough to know that Tampa Bay is a great place to live. They got a coach they like. They got their teammates that they like. Mike's got his foundation here. He's got everything here. His family's settled here. I mean, you don't want to uproot your family if you don't have to. I mean, if this was a dumpster fire and they're in a total rebuild, I could see Mike leaving, but that's not what this is.
Sure.
He's got a quarterback that he really, really likes that, help him get 13 touchdowns and tie for the NFL lead in the regular season. But why would you want to go anywhere? Why would you want to go anywhere? And if the money is it, will somebody else offer him a few more dollars here or there? Yeah, probably. But he's smart enough to know that it's not all about money. It's not all about money. I mean, if the Bucks are nowhere even close, they're not within, 5-6 million of what other teams are offering. Okay, maybe you look at that. Mm-hmm. But no, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if they let anybody get away.
And there's something that can be said when you have a player that plays with one team his whole entire career. And you look at Evans, he has that opportunity, right? Like Rondé Barber played with the Bucks his entire career. Derrick Brooks played with the Bucks his entire career. So is that important to him? Of course, the money aspect of it. And again, being familiar with, Baker Mayfield, liking Baker Mayfield, putting up better numbers than Tom Brady did last year. So they have that chemistry. They're on the same page. And like you said, Tampa's not a bad place to live, guys. It's great weather all year round, no state.
You're in an easy division.
Right. You want to go to Atlanta. You want to go to Kansas City, which is cold. I get it. You got Patrick Mahomes there, which is a nightmare scenario. The Houston Texans, which are a team on the, come up here. With CJ Stroud. But I just think at the end of the day, they'll figure out how to get it done. And people going, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. I'm not buying it. I
don't know who's saying that, but I don't.
Well, there's plenty of fans thinking Mike Evans is gone. Antoine Winfield is gone. Dogs and cats are sleeping together.
It could happen, but if that happens, that means Jason Light completely dropped the ball.
Correct.
Completely dropped the ball. And I don't see that happening. Why would he work so hard to put this group together that, gets to the second round of the playoffs, almost wins that game, and then just say, screw it. We'll do a rebuild. I'm not going to re-sign Mike. They got the cap money to do it now. They have it. It's just a matter of massaging the cap and how much you want to spend. You don't want to give it all to a couple of players. I get it. I would be shocked. It could happen, but I would be shocked. Ben Cornett says, let's see what Liam Coen can do with this offense. Unlike when Canales came in, Coen has experience calling plays, even though it was at the college level. Well, he also called plays at the professional level with Baker Mayfield, with Los Angeles that season, because basically Sean McVay said, screw it. The season's a disaster. Go ahead, get some reps in here calling plays, kid. And he let him do it. So that was good. And there's a notion that Sean McVay wasn't happy with what Liam Coen did. That's not true. Liam Coen wanted to call plays full time. That's why he went back to Kentucky. And why do you think Sean McVay brought him back to the Rams? He likes so no. Bucks have bigger needs than a quarterback if the Bucks fail to sign Baker. Well, if they don't re-sign Baker, they have no bigger need than quarterback.
Right.
Let's see what else we got here. KW4 says, reading where possibly free agents are going. Evans signs a 4-year, $100 million deal with the New York Jets. Mayfield signs 2 years, $40 million deal with the Buccaneers. I don't think either one of those are happening. Just my opinion. I don't know where you found that, but if the Jets offered 4 years, $100 million, I think the Bucks would come very close to that. So, and why would he want to leave to go play 1 year with Aaron Rodgers for a lame duck coach if Aaron Rodgers can come back and play?
Sure.
I don't see it. And Mayfield's going to demand more than 2 years, $40 million. That's not even close. Winfield with the Patriots. No, you can franchise Winfield. He's not effing leaving.
That's what I'm saying right here. And this is being put out.
KW4, you always have good information. I don't know where you got that stuff though.
Yeah.
And this must be a parody website you're looking at. Devin White, 5 years, 75 with the Titans. Good luck with that.
Yeah, how about it?
So Kevin Carberry is the new OC coach. He was with the Rams as their offensive line coach, I believe, when they won the Super Bowl. He's got great experience, 7 years experience in the NFL. He was the assistant O-line coach with the Saints last year. And I like what Liam said about running the football, physical running of the football. We'll get back to his interview here in a second. So, I like that. And K-Dub says if Coen wants to run the ball more, they need help on the offensive line. You wonder why Canales couldn't run. Canales wasn't stubborn, as you said, Peter. I think part of that was Bowles, to be quite honest. I think Bowles was demanding that he run the football more and for whatever reason run it up the middle in that zone scheme, which was awful. I never understood that. That didn't fit in with what Canales was trying to do, at least in my opinion.
Sure.
See what else we got here. A couple of guys arguing between each other, so I'm not going to get into that. John Hill with an interesting basketball take here. Rodenka Dobros was one of the greatest players in USF history. I remember him. Rodenka was recruited by Kansas by Larry Brown, and Brown left Kansas to go to the 60s. I remember he used to torch FSU. Rodenka Dobros when I was doing FSU games. I'm like, who is this kid? He was a really good player.
And even Coach Raheem talked about that last night in the comments in the post game. So you're going to have to listen to that with me asking him, how important was a win over Charlotte last night for this program going forward. Great response, and he refers to it, about USF history, and also, had some interesting comments about Coach Golish and him and their relationship. Do you get more inspiration? And I wanted to get the comment up. We'll get the comment up. Just watch for it on the Twitter account, how they were going back and forth and how Coach Golish was on his FaceTime and pumping him up. And then also asking him, his son, wants to watch the game because it's a late game. I mean, just a great relationship there. And hats off to Michael Kelly, right? Because people were critical of these hires, and these hires have definitely – this has improved this athletic program tremendously. Shook his hand last night, told him, thanks a lot for having us out there, giving us the opportunity, and congratulations, because not only have you found a football coach, and I truly believe this, USF Bulls fans, you found a football coach, but you also found a basketball coach that right now is just, letting it loose, and his players are playing for him, and it doesn't matter how many points they're down. They're not giving up. Gritty, not pretty, man. Gritty, not pretty.
Some of that was pretty last night. It was a lot prettier than the FSU game. I can tell you that.
Their
offense is dreadful.
Very true. Very
All
true.
right, let's do a little bit more Liam Coen. I'm going to pop this up and see if we can pick up where he left off. He got a little bit more specific about the run game here. So
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing in LA was creating different pictures for the defense, pre-snap. So, the illusion of complexity for us was something that we strived for. Was, man, let's do the same things that we like to do and that we're good at doing, but change the picture with pre-motion shift, tempo change, tempo out of the huddle change, go no huddle. That's something that we really worked on and believed in LA. I mean, you watch those films of Cooper Kupp and Puka and all those wideouts, man, they run a lot during pre-snap. Now, it'll be a balance, right? A balance between some of those things, but we definitely believe in trying to make the picture look a little bit different for the defense. Man, these coordinators and defensive players are so good in the National Football League. You've got to be able to do some different things to be able to change the picture so you're not stagnant coming out of the huddle with the same tempo every time to where they can get a beat on you.
Just in talking to you about the running game, it's been
question on the running game.
Successful in the last couple of years that the Bucs have been at the very bottom of the league. What is your level of commitment to the run game?
What's your level of commitment to the run?
Incorporate the run game in the
Great question, Scott.
That's exactly right. Is the marriage of the run and the pass is what we're striving for. We're striving for balance, but to be explosive in both the run and the pass. That's something that I, honestly take a lot of pride in. I think that's something that Sean, I learned a lot from Sean in terms of the run game when I first got to LA. We understood and tried to study defense more than we try to study ourselves. How to understand gap integrity, fits, fallbacks, things of that nature to be able to dissect the defense. How can we also run into better pictures, right? So now we're talking about, well, can we put a little bit more on the guys? Can we put a little bit more on the quarterback and the center and some of those guys to be able to change the play, get us into really advantageous looks so that we run into better numbers, into better looks, into cleaner looks. And that's something that I think these guys are eager for, just talking through to some of those guys. So some of them right now, they're eager for more, and it's something that it's our philosophy as well.
Speaking of the run game, you'll get to work with Rachaad White this year. And
Yeah.
he's been important.
Question about working with Rachaad
not just
White.
as a runner, but what he means to the passing game as well. So what's your excitement?
As a runner and a passer.
Pretty
receiver.
dynamic dude. I mean, I evaluated him coming out of Arizona State. We were excited about him in LA as well. And, just the ability to be able to motion him out of the backfield, align him in the back, in empty, free release him out of the backfield. He showed that he can do some of those things, and that's not easy to handle as a young back to be able to do both the run and the pass at a pretty high level. And now, hey, how do we get better at sticking our foot in the ground and getting vertical and being violent with our shoulder pads down and getting downhill on people? But man, he's eager. I just met him in the weight room, and he's an eager dude. He's excited and wants to get back to work and run the football. But he seems like he could be a good all-purpose back.
You said you have a similar personality to him, maybe not as outgoing, but fiery.
Yeah,
Baker personality.
Fair.
Question.
Fair. From the Northeast, and I'm a coach's son, and I believe in physical brand of football and be tough, and probably a little bit. In LA, Sean, he's so bright, but he's tough. You want to run the football. There's a style of football. There's a brand of football that I believe in, that I've learned through multiple coaches being around, but also, my dad, my grandfather, and that's the style of football that I'd like to play and be able to communicate with those guys in that way. But we're ultimately here to go win football games, and tough people usually do that.
Ray Davis possibly in the later rounds. Start those already. I know they love White guys.
Kentucky.
Right, but you get an extra running back there that you're familiar with that's kind of more of a smash mouth than White. That kind of makes sense, right?
100%. And I love the idea of a physical running game. And, obviously marrying the pass and the run. That's what wins in this league. And he wants to talk, Sean McVay is known for, like he said, being super bright, all the bells and whistles and things like that. But that offense is predicated on a really good offensive line and a power running game. Cooper Kupp, he gets a lot of touches, he gets a lot of yards, but they run the football. They are committed to running the football. When they were at their best, Gurley was just steamrolling people. and that's what they want to do. So I love that here. Little question about a little bit more about his relationship with his dad.
Yeah, this is a cool answer by
Totally,
him.
that's my best friend. He's my best friend, and I grew up with a football. Like, just that's all I've ever known. Unfortunately, for my wife, I don't really change a light bulb well. I don't vacuum very well, or change a tire, unfortunately. But she can do all those things, which is amazing. So he's my best friend. Like I mentioned, he was my hero. I always wanted to be who he was. I wanted to be a head football coach or a football coach. And, my early years of childhood were not really playing with, action figures and Ninja Turtles. They were figurines and footballs and drawing up plays. And that's been my passion since I was a really, I can remember. And for him to be right down the road and now to be able to hopefully move up here, it's pretty special.
Do you even get a spot in your office?
Man, he was in the office way too much at Kentucky. Way too much. I'm glad Coach Bowles hopefully will put a little bit of parameters on that, because he would be texting me about personnel, be texting me about running the football more. He's on me. So hopefully he can come by a little bit to say hi, but maybe not sit in the staff meetings like he did at Kentucky.
Dad's
I love
run
that.
the ball more, son. Run the ball more. You need to
And
get
his dad's sitting right there. if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. Yeah, his dad's
Right.
sitting right there.
Yeah.
That's funny. And I love the relationship that he has with his dad. And there, I get his dad told a story that when he was young, 4 years old, he was, they were doing a staff meeting or something, and he was on the ground. And after the staff meeting, he went over there and looked at his son, and he had a pad of paper, and he had done a whole diagram on the wishbone offense and had all the players in the right place when he was 4 years old. I mean, the kid, he's a prodigy. He's a coach's son, and has played the game at a high level too. So in college, so that's good.
And he's
I
all
love
about
about it.
football. He's all about football. That's what you get from this press conference. There's not going to be, he talked about, I can't change a tire. I can't change a light bulb. I'm not really good with that either, but you found a winner
Love
there,
it.
one with your wife there. But, with that being said, there's going to be no distractions to this man. He's all about football, all about running this offense. And I think Bucs fans should be excited about the hire overall.
Yeah, I think, just to get back to what I said in the beginning, this is when you're looking at a situation where you surprisingly lose your offensive coordinator like Dave Canales. I think everybody thought he'd be back. I didn't think there was a snowball's chance in hell of him getting the Panthers job. And I think a lot of it was because a lot of people didn't want the job. And that's no disrespect to Dave, but good luck to him. But again, this guy comes in here with chops. I mean, he has called plays in the SEC and the NFL, albeit limited, but that's more than Dave Canales has done. The situation is, and the strategies are similar. The terminology is similar. He's got a relationship with Baker Mayfield. It tells me there's a really good chance that Baker's coming back. So and his understanding and his philosophies really, really match up with what they've done before and what Todd Bowles wants to do. So I think, as far as what was out there and what you could have gotten in this situation, this is a home run hire. I think it checks all the boxes. And I think they did, hats off again. Jason Light knows what he's doing, folks. So if you think Baker Mayfield is getting out of here and Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield, all these guys are getting out of here, you're out of your mind. They're not going, in my opinion, I would be shocked if any of those guys went anywhere else. It could happen. It's the NFL, but the Bucs have the money to keep them. They may have to overspend in some situations, but I think Jason Light's idea is, all right, if I have to do that, I'll do it. We'll figure the rest out later. It's kind of a Tom Brady thing. When you got a good thing, you do what you have to keep the band together, keep the core together, and then you figure out the rest of the stuff on the outside fringes. And that's in my heart of heart, knowing how Jason Light operates and where they're at right now. That's what I think this is going. Could be wrong, but we'll see. All right, quick break. When we come back, Scott Jeeves is going to join us, and we're going to get into this Florida State lawsuit against the ACC and the ACC's countersuit against Florida State. and kind of figure out where this thing is heading. From a legal mind, I gave him a little homework assignment to try to put this in layman's terms for us. So we'll be counting on our lawyer, Scott Jeeves, to do so when we come back. Stay with us. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Is getting a home equity line a good idea right now with rates so high? Well, I put that question to my good friend Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services, and he says it all depends on where you're at financially. Many of us with ridiculous inflation have been charging up those credit cards, right? At 29% interest, hoping to catch up, but that ain't happening. Those interest payments are killing you. So yes, a consolidation loan and tapping into that crazy equity in your house is a great idea. That strategy can drop your monthly nut by thousands of dollars and stop wasting money on those interest payments. Fitz, the mortgage guy, has done thousands of loans for the past 25 years in Tampa Bay. Just did one for a former colleague who was a manager for a big bank mortgage division. He knows Scott is an independent broker and can get him a way better deal than at his own big bank. AMS Tampa has way lower overhead and gives you the savings. So if you're worried about fees and closing costs, have the free consultation with Scott and look at the actual numbers. It may shock you what he can do. Be smart. Stay one step ahead. Email Fitz at scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa, or call 813-294-7595. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722. American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa first.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We have the man with us here, Scott Jeeves, the man we tell you about all the time as we bring him in here. Peter, if you can. Our good friend Scott Jeeves from his law office there, good big time Gator fan, and I've given you some homework to do some Florida State homework. How are you, Scotty?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm not going to talk like a lawyer, as you cautioned me.
Well, you could use a little bit of it, so we know you're an attorney. I think most everybody wants to know is like, how the heck is Florida State suing its own conference? Why are they suing their own conference? What is this all about in terms of getting out of their grant of rights, which is a term nobody's really heard of until this lawsuit? So why are they doing what they're doing?
Well, first of all, both the ACC and FSU are trying to play like a home game. And what I mean by that, that's the venue question.
Okay,
is the case going to be litigated in Tallahassee, or is it going to be litigated in North Carolina? Both want to play a home game because there's significant advantages of that. You've got basically a fiduciary play by Florida State. They've laid out some horrific allegations in their complaint, which, if true, I think gives Florida State some grounds to go ahead and chase down the ACC. Did you tie us in for less of a TV deal? Did you do some things that aren't going to hamstring us? And in the future, and if those allegations are true, and the money behind it, and all the things behind it, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out in the course of discovery, i.e., things getting back and forth, taking depositions, written interrogatories. Do we find the smoking gun, the emails? What do we find behind all this stuff? Because I think those are interesting aspects.
Yeah, there's a feeling, and some of the people I've talked to at Florida State, that there was some dirty dealing going on in a lot of different ways, not only with the negotiating of this contract, which people have to understand, it's with ESPN. So ESPN is also I don't know if a co-conspirator is the way to say it. I saw that they just hired a big law firm to represent their interest because they are, in the lawsuit from the state of Florida, they're named in that lawsuit. And there's discovery and there's depositions that want to be taken. Like FSU wants to know what the show notes were in terms of building this narrative against FSU. When Kirk Herbstreit is coming out and talking about these things and other things, are there show notes? Were there directions from producers and higher ups to say, hey, we're going to make sure Florida State doesn't get in? Is that something that we would be able to find out in discovery and depositions?
It's possible. ESPN is not a party, so they're going to have to do third-party subpoena. ESPN is going to put up a wall of lawyers to try to get in the discovery. They don't want to be involved. Okay, they don't want to be there. But another interesting part of the lawsuit, especially if you see the amended lawsuit, is the allegations about the former commissioner and the son working at the secondary television stations or Raycom, about to go bankrupt. Why do you cut a deal with them at all? Why are they included? I mean, those are valid questions to me, and I'm a Florida fan. So when I'm going out of my way for FSU, there's a bigger picture there.
Yeah,
so you
so
really got.
This is called self-dealing, right? It's basically nepotism is what happened here, and it affects future television rights, correct?
Yeah, it expects the rights of. They negotiated these contracts out for years, so it hamstrings FSU. Let's face it, when you're recruiting kids, you got to have facilities, you got to have this, and FSU for the conference. Other than maybe Clemson, FSU is the only real name in there that really puts a lot of money in.
Right.
And the problem is you've hamstringed your program because you don't have the television dollars, especially compared to like the Big Ten. Yep. And that's probably. I mean, if FSU is able to get out of this contract, within a reasonable dollar figure, that's a nice target for the Big Ten. I'd want FSU. Especially, and I think FSU would change somewhat of how Big Ten plays. It's not going to be that grind out football because you guys have a little bit more razzle dazzle, a little bit more speed, a little bit more, things that'll be kind of showstoppers. And I'm also. And I don't think anybody's hit this in the lawsuit or anything. I'm going to give the SEC commissioner. He was out there way in front of it going, hey, our conference is not like the others. We should potentially have Georgia and Alabama. He was campaigning way in advance. I didn't hear anything from the ACC commissioner, especially, after you guys beat Louisville with a third string quarterback and you stopped two, 1,000-yard rushers. I would have been out way in front of. How can you not put FSU in the Final Four? He should have been out front. Where was his advocacy for FSU?
So you think that's part of the lawsuit and can be something that FSU can argue is like this conference has not done their fiduciary duty to protect us, and certainly not their public duty in terms of, because there's money involved, obviously, getting into the Final Four.
Why wasn't he out there? Hey.
Because he's in cahoots with the ACC and ESPN. That's why.
We had, we've had Clemson in their last few years, ladies and gentlemen. This is our conference champion, FSU. I don't care that they lost their quarterback. I don't care. Yeah. Because basically that was the end of Florida State season when they didn't make the Final Four. Who wants to play for, against Georgia?
Orange Bowl was a travesty. Yeah. So let me ask you a couple other legal questions, because I think in the amended lawsuit also they talk about the ACC making unilateral moves. They signed the contract extension with the ESPN without a full vote of the conference, which by their bylaws you have to have a full vote of the conference. The ACC filed this lawsuit against FSU without a full vote of the conference, which is also in their bylaws. So haven't they violated those essential parts of the contract?
I think they have. There may be, and I haven't looked at the whole contract, but there may be some argument that we had emergent motions and we had to act quickly. But I think you've got to have your members behind it. And I don't know if every school in the conference is disagreeing. If I'm Clemson, I may not be disagreeing with Florida State wanting to leave.
No, they're not.
You know,
they're strangely silent though. Like, it's strangely silent. These other, it's like, let's let FSU do all the dirty work, and once they get out, we'll join up, right?
It's kind of, they are competing for that. They're sitting there, and that might be the best strategy. Let you guys spend all the money. I don't necessarily disagree totally.
You lawyers charge a lot of money for your fees, and why not let Florida State pay the piper, and then we'll come in at the end, right? Okay.
Particularly the law firms involved. I've looked at a lot of the names of law firms. They ain't cheap. Trust me.
They ain't cheap. No, absolutely. So that's part of the lawsuit as well. So in your professional opinion, if you were a judge in this case, and you in Florida State, where do you think this is heading? We talked, you think there's probably some type of out of court settlement. It'll never really get to trial, right?
I think it's going to settle out of court. And look at the Pac-12. You have the two remaining conference members that were suing the rest of the Pac-12. It was about money, and it's about money, and it's about a number that both parties can live with to get out of the deal. You don't want FSU in the conference if they're not happy to be there, and you guys are clearly over it.
Yes, we are.
We did get to the national championship game was the straw that broke the camel's back, as you said. And I think that's kind of, a negotiated deal. Most cases, don't go to trial. And this is a big business decision, and it's going to be big business. Now, how long, when the time periods, is there some kind of solution that you can leave after 2 or 3 years? Is there some other solutions that you can work out that both sides can live? Those penalties, horrendous. Yeah. I mean, they're more than the value of the contracts, right? The television contracts. I'm like, well, why didn't you sign television contracts at that level?
Right.
But I think I teased you a little bit, but taking your shot at, the teams that are coming into the conference, you guys have created instant rivals. Not that they can compete with you, but they're going to be tougher on the other sports on you.
Explain that to the folks. Did here.
Stanford, SMU, and Cal, there like, why are you guys bringing these guys in? This is useless. This doesn't expand our brand. This doesn't expand our conference. And I get it. That
it's a strong argument though, right? It's like FSU's trying to prove that the ACC is a bunch of knuckleheads when it comes to business, and it's costing us hundreds of millions of dollars. And here's another example. Why the hell would you bring Stanford and Cal, who have zero football followings or sports followings at all? At least SMU is, has some football history, and bring them in and give them the same amount of money that everybody else is getting, and they're not bringing anything to another stupid move. Ergo, we need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, well, they're going to argue that they're like-kind institutions to the University of North Carolina and academics and this, and I don't want to hear that, because the NIL, it's about television money, it's about other stuff, but that's the play. That's where they're going to go. That.
Hey, Scott, I don't know if you saw this, and I'm just throwing this on you, so if you don't know or don't want to comment, that's fine. So the Dartmouth University, the players sued to be able to unionize. And much like Northwestern did back in the day, and Northwestern actually won that lawsuit, but I guess the National Labor Board overturned it. But the judge awarded them that. So this time the NLRB said, yes, you were right. You are an employee. You're treated like an employee. So now you can collectively bargain and unionize. So I know it's the Dartmouth basketball team, but obviously this goes to the entire stupid amateur athlete platform that the NCAA concocted many years ago. It's now invalid, is it not?
I would agree, and I think it's huge. And I would prefer that teams unionize rather than right now in their NIL. You got a me-only mentality. I produced 14, 100 yards
Touchdowns.
last year. Yeah, and now I want a Jag, and I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want this. And if they don't get it, they switch schools. Whereas if they unionize, at least you get a concept of team. I kind of like it in some respects,
I do too.
because of the team concept of that. And, it's Dartmouth thing, I probably wouldn't have got in there, and I doubt you would have got in there. That's a really smart undergraduate school, so I kind of like it that they're doing it,
Well, I don't know if I could pull it up right now, but this is a true story. So when I was going through my mom's effects after she passed away, I found a letter from Dartmouth, a recruiting letter that was addressed to me that she never gave me because she didn't want me to go to Dartmouth and leave home. And I hadn't seen it. I never saw it. So literally, and I have 3 of my good friends who actually were my age that played on that team. And I said,
awesome.
I sent them the letter, and it was like, that's our coach. That's our coach that sent you the letter that you would have been playing with us at Dartmouth. So I don't know. I had a pretty good, my GPA was over 4 with the advanced classes. The SAT may have been a little bit low, but I think they might have been able to squeeze me in. So your assumptions, Mr. Attorney, may not be correct. So
that's why you're not supposed to sue.
I object.
Uh-oh. I thought you... Objection. I guess I'm overruled or whatever.
Well, I think both of these different decisions, and the NCAA, by the way, is now trying. Like they came down on Florida State for NIL, so now Tennessee and the state of Tennessee and I believe the state of Kentucky, right, have sued the NCAA and said you have no control over NIL anymore because the courts have ruled that this is permissible, right?
Yeah, I that's true, and I think that is, and you've also got state laws, so there's a state interest in it too. Right. Now you've got California, Florida's got laws on it. A bunch of the states have it. So yeah, they're and what's it all about? Money, power, and whatever. And the NCAA, in my opinion, is kind of an outdated concept at this point. With the addition of NIL and everything else, but it is what it is. So, that's the kind of things that you're dealing with, and it's kind of the antiquated system. Nobody wants to lose power.
That's right.
I mean, and an example is, how do you have a Pac-12 conference that you used to have with all the teams doing really well their last year, then boom, it's gone. It's like
gone. Crazy.
Absolutely nuts. And the rights that go with it, and the television rights, the secondary rights, all the different things that go, and all the money there. And, I sympathize with the Florida State fans in that they put so much money, time, aggravation. They live for their football team, and they're having to go through all this, and you could see just on like the Board of Regents, the people making it was like, you guys not making the national championship when you rightfully were an undefeated team. Mm-hmm. That was like, okay, we're done. Exactly. It's not like you hadn't been. And the problem is was this a punishment for your grumblings of wanting to break away from the ACC earlier?
Yes.
I
believe it was.
And so,
that's what produces lawsuits. So here we go. And hopefully this will be settled out of court. As you predicted, there'll be a settlement. And FSU, I saw another report today that FSU plans on being out of the ACC by 2026. I think it might happen in 2025, but we'll see what the lawyers do. Scott, hey, before you go, just tell all the people what you do over there. We talk about you all the time and how you're a big law firm enough to handle these big insurance companies, but you're also small enough to keep your clients very important to you. So give them a little pitch about what you guys do over there at the Jeeves Law Group.
We do personal injury, do class action. We do litigation for people on a contingent basis when they're at a low point in their life, like if your home was destroyed or you're in a big car accident. We work on a contingency, and it's not anything unusual, but I'm too ugly to be on billboard, so I'd rather come on a show like you and talk. So it is what it is, and anytime anybody needs us, call us for free. It's always a free consult. It's always we're here for the people, not the powerful.
Love it. Go to the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Hey, that Morgan & Morgan guy ain't a box of chocolates, bro. I'm telling you.
Have you seen the ones where he's got his head attached to somebody else's body?
I think that's the way you should go. I think you should do that. Yeah, and then have a picture of this sculpted body, and then his big fat wallet's right next to it too. The girls love that too. I hear.
Yeah, I need to go to that 15 minutes to get my abs in shape
you
before
can
we talk about
do
it.
True Body at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That's what you need to do. Get on that machine. You'll have abs in no time. There you go. All right, Scotty. Thanks, man. Appreciate your expertise. Thank you very
Good
much.
talking with you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, cool. The great Scott Jeeves right there. So I think I learned a lot there. I think I learned that FSU's getting out of this damn lawsuit.
Yeah, they should get out of this. Yeah, get out of this conference because it's not doing anything for them. And the main question is, what's the new conference? Is it the Big Ten? Is it the SEC? I don't think it's SEC. I think it's Big Ten, Fox, and
I don't think Florida wants FSU in the SEC. I don't think FSU wants to go into the SEC because I think they know rightly that they would be treated like a redheaded stepchild in that league. They'd get the bad times, they'd get the bad situations, anything where the conference made any decisions, you would be at the bottom of the list. So I don't think they want any part of that. And also you'd be climbing back in bed with ESPN, the same snakes that bit you. That makes no sense to me either. Fox wants FSU. Big Ten wants FSU. It's interesting, though, the SEC and the Big Ten have now created this advisory board. I think that's just that may be the first level of bringing the P4 together, bring all the conferences together. And now that's going to kind of separate from maybe the smaller schools, and USF is going to be one part of that pie, which is why all this happening right now is a big deal. So, and I think that's where this is going. You're going to have, probably 4, maybe 6 super conferences, hopefully geographically drawn, get some of the old rivalries, all these, and these players, these D1 players now, because of this NLRB ruling of them being able to unionize, will now be able to collectively bargain the team. So it's going to be very much like an NFL model. I've been talking about this for 20 years. Chip Kelly recently talked a lot about it, got a lot of press. So as much as you hate that, people, it's going to destroy college football. No, it's actually going to save college football because it's going to put everything above board. This has been a professional football enterprise for quite some time. From the first time the SEC made a television deal for $200 million, everything changed. We're no longer, hey, your school, meet my school in Lake City, and we'll play a little game of rugby called college football, and maybe we'll sell some $2 tickets and some popcorn. Those days are long gone. It's huge money now. It's billion-dollar TV contracts, and it has to be run like a real business. And that means collectively bargaining for the labor and TV contracts coming in, and the NIL money will, once again, just like the NFL, the sponsor money comes in. It's divided up between teams, TV contracts, all that stuff. To me, that's where this has to go, just from a legal standpoint. And you can still play the games on college campuses. They can still be affiliated with the colleges. All that stuff remains the same. So you're not, it's not like it's going to be a branch of the NFL. Everything remains the same as far as the fans are concerned, except we don't have these rogue NIL deals everywhere. We don't have, crazy different compensation levels for, every different conference makes a certain amount of money. So you're going to have more of a level playing field. And I think it'll go back to more the way it was. But yes, the players will get paid and they deserve to get paid. And I think that's fair.
It is fair. And then you go back to it, Tim Tebow, when Tim Tebow can't make any money off his jersey, but the University of Florida is making all kinds of money, $20 million of revenue, as Alexander's in the background agrees with it. Yes. That's the problem. And that's the reason why the NIL agreement was put into place now, because of the players to make money.
Jordan G says FSU would be about 500 in the SEC, much like UF is. Well, I actually have some evidence to the contrary. Like the last 2 seasons where they're 4-0.
Yeah.
Jordan G in the SEC.
How about
4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and I do not count the Georgia game, and I never will. That was an exhibition that
anybody who counts that game, it's just
that does never. I will never count that game anywhere on any official stat sheet. 0. Wipe it from the annals.
The joke.
Put it in the annals where it deserves to be.
The annals.
That's where it deserves to be. That didn't happen.
Speaking of annals, Kirk Herbstreit once again stepping in it with FSU fans.
Oh, no, he didn't.
We're just going back and forth. oh, this is the reason why FSU fans are crazy. And I'm just paraphrasing. I mean, just going back.
What did he say now?
Just leave it alone. Like, he just talking about, FSU fans being completely crazy and insane. And they're calling him out about, don't mention Bobby Bowden, because he continues to mention Bobby Bowden, how he respects the program. He respected Bobby Bowden. And then he's saying, FSU didn't deserve to be in the playoff. And fans are taking him to task on it. And they're checking him. And he doesn't like it. And
the same old argument. He knows damn well he was ordered. And I can't wait. I want to see the smoking guns. But ESPN will never. No, that's like Scott said. They want no part of Discovery. They want no part of this. And the FSU lawsuit is strictly against the ACC. There's a separate lawsuit from the state of Florida that names ESPN that Ashley Moody filed.
Yeah.
So they are party to that lawsuit, not the other one, but to that lawsuit, which they will have to either settle that suit or submit to Discovery subpoenas, depositions, and all that stuff. And I just,
And Feinbaum told you. He
Print that
told
stuff.
you the reason why the ACC didn't go to bat.
That's right.
FSU.
Yeah.
Because they had something against the program, because the program decided to step out and wanted to get out of the conference.
That's right. You want to know why their conference commissioner wasn't stumping for FSU? Because they hate FSU.
Yes.
And Paul Feinbaum said nobody likes FSU because they're rogue program. They're trying to bust up the SEC or the ACC, and they're trying to upset the apple cart. You literally called them renegades. Remember that soundbite we played? Yes. Renegades, a bunch of renegades. Oh, because they're getting half of the TV money that the SEC teams are, and it's not fair, and it's because their conference sold them out, and they're trying to rectify that situation. That makes them renegades because they're not behaving the way the SEC wants them to behave. Screw you, Paul Feinbaum, and screw the SEC, and screw the ACC.
Yes.
I mean, if Paul and Alabama were in the same situation, you'd be telling them to do the same damn thing. Get the hell out of the conference.
Exactly.
So stop being a freaking hypocrite. But I thank you for saying out loud what everybody knew already, that everybody hates. It wasn't because of their quarterback. It wasn't because they didn't think they would be a competent team in the playoff. It's because they hate FSU. And they wanted to get back at him because they tried to bust up the ACC, which would have cost your employer, ESPN, hundreds of millions of dollars in this fraudulent grant of rights deal. Yes, it's as Scott said, it's about power and it's about money. And right now, the SEC has the power and the ESPN has the money, and they control everything. And while they can take their shots at Florida State and while promoting their products, the SEC getting Texas and Alabama in, what? Of course. Yeah, that's what it was about. Power and money. So don't tell me your team's not good enough, Kirk Herbstreit, because you know that's a freaking lie. You lobbied for TCU. You lobbied for Cincinnati. You lobbied for all these teams to get in because they were, quote, undefeated or close to it. And did you really think they were, quote, the best teams? No. You said there are probably 6 or 7 SEC teams that were better than them, but you can't put them all in.
No.
So you know damn well you lied. So that's why FSU fans know you're a freaking hypocrite. You're a liar. You're a company man. And that's what you did. You know what you did, ESPN. And hopefully FSU will get out of that and get with Fox in the Big Ten. I see it happening.
Fox and CBS too, right? CBS has rights to the Big Ten also because they lost rights to the SEC. Is that correct?
I think so. I think they're part of that deal.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good move. Good move for FSU. So
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to get in here? Peter, you got some USF sound? Or?
Yeah. USF sound really quick here. How important was this victory for the program here by the coach here live on the Sports Web on the JP Peterson Show? Here we go. Coach, how important is this victory? 16-5, first time in program's history, 9-1 in the conference. How important is it, this win for your program this year?
It's really important. Not because it gives us first, possession of first place on February 7th now. But it's important because as a good friend of mine, a guy named Fred Cordovan, I coached his son at my last stop. He's the operations guy at another institution. He sent me a little graphic the other day about grit. And in the acronym, it was growth requires inner toughness, right? And I said, man, I like that. And so it's not just about this team. It's like we're talking about a program. I talk about program with these guys more than anything. Like when they're all said, when it's all said and done, and they're playing professionally somewhere and sending me a whole bunch of gear, from wherever they are, they're still a part of this program. Just like Charlie Bradley, Rodinko Dobris is still a part of this program. I love seeing Coach Pascal out there. He's still a part of this program, right? And so it was important because we need to go through games like that to build that grit, that inner toughness that it takes to be a championship team. You don't just get it by showing up, and things being easy.
Gritty, not pretty. With the win, do you finally think that you're going to get some national media respect after this big-time victory over the 49ers?
Y'all gonna think it's coach speak, but I really don't. I really don't care. Somebody will say something, but like think about this. Those two teams that just played tonight, one was picked 13th in the preseason, the other was picked 9th. This league is a bear, right? It is a bear. It's a lot of really good players and dang good coaches. And so I care that President Red Law is proud of her men's basketball team. I pray that I care that AD Michael Kelly is proud of his basketball team and the product we're putting out on the court. Because again, we're Tampa Bay's home for hoops, right? We're not only the collegiate team, we're the pro team. So I want them to care. What people outside of, our university think, cool, but I want,
All right, so there
That's
you go.
Good. I hadn't heard that. Tampa Bay's home for hoops. Yeah.
You like that? Yeah, it's good
They're the
stuff.
best team in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
They're like,
impressive.
Tampa Bay's college and pro team. Of course, players are like, pro? Where's my contract, coach?
Yes. And again, keep in mind, this is without Keyshawn Pryor because he was a big facet of what they've been doing, scoring points. And it was either Charlotte's, defense getting in his head, being physical, and everything that first half. You watch the game. Everything that USF wanted to do offensively was contested.
Yeah.
And the thing that you love about this coach, and he even asked him this, what type of adjustments did you make? And he was talking about it and everything they had to earn last night. But once again, gritty, not pretty, figuring out how to take a lead. And when Stroud misses those two free throws,
yeah,
he's able to have that confidence to go back to him and his players respond for him. That means so much. So much.
All right. Great stuff, Peter. Good stuff today from you, Coach Z. Kind of put it all in perspective for USF, saying this is the biggest win in school history. 50 years in the making for them to be on top of their conference. It's never happened before this late in the season. So our thanks to Coach Z. Our thanks to Scott Jeeves for appearing today. Great job, Peter. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channels, The JP Peterson Show and FanStream Sports. Also, Apple and Spotify. You can always listen to this as a podcast. And we're live on the radio now each and every day, 102.5 HD2. That big signal, you can listen to us. That's the 102.5 The Bones alternate HD channel where it's called The Strike. It's where all the lightning great content is. So we're on and lightning lunch right after us. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, kids. See you then.